Have you felt the spark of an idea or action that you would like to bring to the world? Have you ever had that spark extinguished? Unfortunately, and I hate to say it, but I extinguished the spark of someone very dear to me, my daughter. When my daughter Sarah was about 6 years old, she came running up to me with a shoebox, and she goes, "Look what I've done." And she opened it up, and inside there were so many handmade books that she'd done. And she goes, "I made all of this, and I want to go sell it at the market for $5. Can we go now?" And she looked at me with these expectant eyes, just beaming. I was so proud of her in that moment, but at the same time I had a roller coaster. This beautiful, creative spirit that wanted to share with the world. And yet, I'm thinking, no, there's this dread going through me. She can't do that. What would people think? You need a license to actually sell this stuff. She'll be disappointed. I can't let her go through this. They don't do that. So with that roller coaster, I couldn't think of anything other to say than no. And with that beaming face just a second ago was lost. All the fire went out of her eyes. She turned her back and just walked away. I had extinguished her fire. How many times does that happen to all of us? We have a great idea, but then it gets turned away. Or how about the times that people come to us with this great idea, and we go, I don't think so. That won't work. We are gathered here today at a TEDx of Spark because every single one of you has a spark inside. Many of you have actually already started filling the walls with the spark of what actually sparks you and energizes you, because this is what we need in this world. And it doesn't have to be something big or small. There's people that want to revolutionize our world and our globe. I know one in particular that would love to change global warming right now and have all of us with a transformed world. There's also those that say, I just want to put a smile on somebody's face that's sad. Or how about your dream career? So what is it that sparks you? Because it starts with an idea. And we're going to do a little exercise that in many ways some of you have already prepped a little bit to do. Because we're experiential, you don't want to listen to me for the full 20 minutes. I got to get you doing something as well. So in your bags, I'm going to request that you get out a couple things. You're going to need to get a piece of lined paper, red balloon, and something to write with. Okay, so as you get everything out on that piece of lined paper, you can use the same one if you want, but I'm going to encourage you to think of another thing that has sparked you. What spark do you want to take out in the world? Now, it can be an idea that you want to do over the next year, or it can be something really big. But think about something and write it down, hopefully in about 3 words or less, on what spark or idea do you want to bring to the world. And go ahead and do it right now, please. Okay, once you have that written, you're going to roll that piece of paper up, and you're going to put it in the balloon. Okay, this is a test at all our dexterity, but I know you can do it. So take that, roll it up, and when you get it in the balloon, start blowing the balloon, because our ideas need energy, they need inspiration, they need life. So I want to see some big balloons coming out. Make sure that they're going to be big enough that we can see all the balloons in this room. So think of your idea. Your idea is, let's see those balloons blow up. and then tie them. Once they're blown up, tied, hold them in your hands. That's it, excellent. And think of every breath is this amazing energy, and you can just feel the energy as the balloons start getting blown up. Feel the energy, because these are amazing ideas that you all have, that are a gift to the world. And we want to make sure that you get a chance to get some of these out to the world. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to get those balloons up. If you need some help from a friend, go for it. Okay, and that's okay. That's what happens to ideas too. If they go, they kind of come and go sometimes. That's all right. I'm feeling it. This is good. Somebody got a balloon? Awesome. Okay. While there's a few people still getting theirs together, just make sure you hold it. The map that we're going to do today. Oh, got a few people over. I don't know if we can do it, but we'll share ideas one way or another. So the map to get your ideas is, I'm going to call it EAT. Okay? I imagine you all love to eat. I know I do. And I want you to think of fire burns through and eats the wood to transform it into something else. So EAT stands for embrace, awareness, and transformation. So embrace is the first part that we're going to talk about. And that's why I have you hold your balloons or have it there. Because this is actually the hardest part. How many times have you heard from someone, oh, that's not a good idea, just let it go, or you're not going to make money at that, or why would you do that, or we don't do that in our family. Some of it can be spoken and not spoken. Think about the cultures sometimes we live in. Does the culture support what we want to bring to the world? When we go to the workplace and you're working, is that role conducive to some of the ideas that you want to share? Or are you expected just to do the job description and make sure to do that well according to the performance review? How about in school? Sometimes you get these great ideas. Do you have the opportunity to share, speak, really spark that and take that to fire? Or are you expected to actually do something rote on a test? And I have to tell you, the hardest part, probably for me, and I've heard a number of people, it's our own voices. What do our own voices actually say that kind of diminish that spark before it even starts? Have you ever heard, oh, I can't do that? Will they like me? Oh, I might make a mistake. Who am I to think I can do that? Someone else might be able to do it better. We have so many voices, so much obstacles, so many challenges. Yet, if we can actually get through that, go to the core of what's really important to us and embrace that idea and get energy, it can actually be extremely powerful. So I have an example for you. I'm not sure if many of you know Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just a couple, maybe? Okay. He's this kind of guy that I saw a video about the other day, and it's really interesting because he is like a world champion bodybuilder. Some proclaim the best. He went on to become a famous Hollywood actor, numerous movies, and if you haven't seen them, go for it. And he also then went on to become the governor. I'm giving him a new job, he doesn't even know it. The governor of California for 2 terms. And so we hear about these famous people all the time, and it's like, wow, that's great. But my guess is you may not know the story of how he actually got there. He was born in Austria. This was a country that really favored and valued conformity. They didn't want anybody going against the grain. Anybody that did something a little different was frowned upon. He had a strict family. He even said his father was not there to try to understand. If anything, what he got was what would now be considered child abuse. But that's just the way it is. He went on to the Austrian army, and when he was there, he found out about a championship that he could go into for bodybuilding. And he sat in his bunk, because he wasn't allowed to go. We weren't allowed to get out. But he's like, oh, sit in the bunk. Should I, shouldn't I, who am I? All those things that we just talked about a little bit earlier. But you know, he went AWOL so that he could go to the competition. At the competition, he won. And then he tried to sneak back to the Austrian army. He actually thought he could get away with it, apparently, but apparently they're a little more observant than that. And he snuck his way back in. When he got in, he actually went into solitary confinement. They said, how could you? He was able to stay there. A lot of thought there. But it's interesting, because he actually had, even while he's in solitary confinement, he's working out, he's doing the bodybuilding. They didn't have the equipment. He had to figure out how to do it all himself. And over time, and especially after they found out he won, and he credited them with how strong he was, he started changing the culture around there. They actually got equipment so that the people could start bodybuilding and getting the strength and doing those things. He transformed that industry. And it wasn't just one. He went on to do this 3 times. So much is possible. And with that, we get to our next stage, which is awareness. We don't get just to keep our ideas to ourselves. We get to share them. Because if I keep it close to my chest, who's going to even know? There's no spark to fire if no one knows. So, what you get to do now is actually move those balloons around. You don't get to keep them. So initially, this is kind of weird because, oh my God, my idea is going out to somebody that doesn't know it. You didn't have to put your names on, just the ideas. But we are actually going to move these balloons around, and in a moment I'm going to say, go for it. And then I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and on 3 you're going to capture the balloon that's closest to you. Okay? Go for it. Let's move these balloons. All right. Feel the energy. There's a few sparks going on. Okay, on the count of 3, you're going to grab one. 1, 2, 3. Those of you that can, grab a balloon. And when you get it, just hold it. Don't do anything with it yet. Hold your balloon. So now, you're in the receiving end. You're holding a balloon right now, and I'm going to have you switch roles. It's no longer your spark that you let out there. You now have received somebody's spark, somebody's idea, something that they want to do. You actually have, in some ways, being the receiver, a more important role. This is a role that you get to receive and see whether it starts getting momentum. Because to go from spark and done, you actually need people. Which is why another TED Talk that you may want to watch is by Derek Sivers. He did a 3-minute TED Talk. Lots of fun. And what happens is he kind of talks about how to make a movement. So we talk, you know, that spark is that one guy. He talks about a guy comes, just dancing away, you know. There's a whole group of people, and he's just like one guy. Everybody else is sitting on the grass, but this one guy is just going like this. Most people, you imagine what they're doing? Kind of like some of the faces of you looking at me right now. Really? He's doing that. Looks kind of crazy. I don't know. But then what happens is somebody else comes up, starts dancing away too. Just having fun. So you got 2 people. A few eyes start going, oh, that looks kind of interesting. Maybe I'll go up. So what happens is you get everyone eventually going up and having fun and dancing. And he speaks to those that actually make the movements are those that follow, that actually add energy to that spark. And you start becoming the crazy one if you don't go along. Because look back, even Arnold, he started to change there. Initially, he was the crazy one. But then they were doing the equipment to support all of them. So you got everybody dancing, you got lots of movement, Now, are you kind of curious what's in those balloons? Absolutely. Okay, I got an absolutely out there. So, in your bags, you should have a paper clip. Okay, so please find a paper clip or something that's not going to cause too much harm because we're going to pop these balloons. I understand if you actually pop where the tie is, it's not quite as loud, so for those of you, it's already starting. So you can go ahead, pop, and then read the things. We got, it's like music to my ears. These are all the ideas that everyone has, and we've only started the day. Okay, you just started. So do your best. I'll invite you, in terms of awareness, to take a look. But as you take a look, our role, when we're the receiver, is to honor that. Because it is really hard. We may or may not even like the ideas that come across, but that really fuels somebody. So have respect, have honor, be curious. And what you're going to do with these ideas, the ones on the wall, your own ideas, the ones you hold in your hand, I invite you to share these ideas throughout the day and beyond. Because this is how we help people get their ideas across. Because the last stage is transformation. And believe it or not, transformation is the easiest part. Transformation happens when we embrace and come into awareness. And to bring you full circle, back to my daughter. Remember that box that she had? Well, she's now in her mid-20s. And believe it or not, she's actually made her books. She's got zines that she created an online web, and she's selling these internationally and shipping them out. She's become an expert and been on panel interviews. She's gone to a couple countries for conferences, and she hasn't even stopped there. She said, oh, I want to get my message across. And she got their zine, she did stand-up comedy, she's done improv, and she's actually at clown school right now. Because it's teaching the body how to actually move things forward and get messages. So it is possible. And that's why she inspires me and you inspire me. Because you're actually all here. I'd love to see each and every one of you have numerous sparks turn to fire, and to use all the people around you, the support that you have, to make that happen. So thank you for being here today. Your sparks are so worthwhile, and I encourage you to share it with the world as a fire.